So the 80s was a difficult period in Manhattan. And what had transpired was the board of the library with some businessmen in the area had formed something called the Bryant Park Restoration Corporation because they were trying to figure out what to do about the park. And they had asked a man named William H. White, but Holly White was very interested in how people behaved in spaces. And he studied their behavior. So he kind of looked at it and he thought about it. He studied these other spaces. And Holly said, there's a couple things you got to do. You got to get eyes on the park, which is a kind of James Jacobs idea. Got to figure out how to pry it open so you can see in and out because it's scary now. And you probably need to put things that'll bring the middle class in, like food and beverage or a cafe or something like that. And Holly basically said, do this. So Bryant Park Restoration Corporation thought, well, we should do that. And they went off and they somehow managed to do a deal with the City of New York Parks Department and all that allowed them to basically take over the park for $1 a year and try and manage it. This was the beginning of a wave that is changing how we manage parks in America and actually around the world. This was a not very nice part of town. And the drugs had become a serious problem and this park was dangerous. So at that point, when Holly White and ourselves began figuring out what to do, it was very clear. He said, open it up. So I decided to rip it open in the mid-block on both sides, 42nd and 40th, and make it wider. I had to make it wider than any one person could control. Meanwhile, I'm cobbling away, ripping open other parts, taking the railings between the side pieces with the avenues of trees, and I'm slicing through those railings to open up the circulation, because part of what was dangerous about it was you would be trapped in here before. You couldn't see. At another meeting, there was this whole discussion of how the park should be, and I had come to the conclusion that, like Paris, we should have loose chairs. And I proposed loose chairs. Someone said, oh, I'm not sure that's going to work, the New Yorkers all steal them. And I said, no, it's what makes all the parks in Paris so fabulous, and I know it will work. That led to the idea that let's have loose chairs in Bryant Park. So I proposed these 300-foot long herbaceous borders on each side, and everybody thought what a great idea. And then Dan Biederman came to me and he said, I want Lyndon Miller to do them. And not only did she do a great job, but she also then stayed on for years afterwards, training gardeners, helping them figure out what to do, using this as a springboard to help other parks do similar things. Bryant Park is a huge success. Design is one thing, but I've done pieces that are a good piece of design elsewhere, and lo and behold, those pieces, because they weren't managed and weren't programmed well, those pieces have ended up not being successful. This park is very successful, and largely because of its management. Now, many people think it's become too successful. There are some people feel that some days the public-private partnership really needs to be balanced very carefully, and one needs to maintain a very strong public sense and not let the private part get too ascendant. There are some that think Bryant Park has gone too far. I will say there are things here that I think are wonderful. There are days when it's too much. So every society needs to figure out, when is it not enough? When is it too much?